In this video, guys, I'll be sharing some secret strategies of how I take multiple YouTube channels from scratch to over 100,000 subscribers in less than 12 months. As you can see, I got some of the silver plaques in the background, and I'll be sharing some of those secrets with you. So the first thing I really wanted to go over is just understanding how YouTube works. Obviously, YouTube as a platform, they want to make sure whoever is on their platform that they stay on that platform for as long as possible. Now, to most people, this may sound obvious, but the reality is a lot of people don't fully understand what that means. That's why I'm going to be breaking down some strategies of what I do that makes YouTube favor my content better than most other people. The first thing I wanted to talk about was when you're starting out with 0 subscribers, the most important thing you really need to pay attention to is starting with creating content based around SEO results. So what exactly does that mean? SEO is search engine optimization. So that means whenever someone is searching on YouTube in the search bar for a specific thing, that is what you want to target your videos around. Now, you may see a lot of these bigger creators online who are making general topics or general titles that aren't really keyword specific. Now, the reason why they're getting away with it, the reason why those people are going viral is because they're already big. They already have momentum, and that's something that you don't have when you have 0 subscribers or you don't have a ton of views. So that's why I say go ahead and create search-based content at the very beginning, because that's how you gain momentum. When you have 0 subscribers, you obviously want to, like I said, target SEO-based content, but you also need to make sure you're driving traffic to the video in the first place. YouTube, if they see that literally you only have 2 views on the video, most likely YouTube is not going to favor that content to be promoted even in the search results. So it's your responsibility to get your content out there to maybe at least 50 to 100 different people. So how exactly do you go about that? The first tip I always give people is go ahead and target things like Reddit, create an Instagram audience that relates to the YouTube channel audience, engage with other people on Instagram, and then try to drive that traffic to your YouTube channel. You could also try to do collaborations. If you're someone that has some type of value to provide, like you have a skill set, but you just don't have an audience around YouTube yet, what you can always do is go to other YouTubers that need that skill set, and you can offer your services in exchange for a collaboration or promotion to your other YouTube channel. There's a lot of ways, and you just have to be more creative with how you're gonna get yourself out there to about 50 to 100 different views on that YouTube video, and then YouTube starts to notice that you have a video that they have to push out there. Okay, the next thing I really want to break down with the SEO is that you want to aim for keywords and tags in your YouTube video. Now, the thing that a lot of people make a mistake on is that when they're uploading a video, they title the video and they put tags in the video that are very basic and very competitive keywords. Now, this doesn't help you at all. What you really need to do is be more specific and niche down on the keywords and the targeted tags that you decide to use. For example, for this video, me teaching you how to do the algorithm and figure out YouTube, I'm not necessarily going to target how to grow on YouTube. There's a lot of people doing that and it's very competitive. I would only target that when I'm already big. Instead, what I would probably target is what this title is going to be on this video, YouTube algorithm hacks, because that's a little bit less competitive compared to how to grow on YouTube. It's going to take a little bit more creativity to figure this out for your own niche, but you really have to figure out how can I be more specific on what kind of keywords I use for my content. Now, soon I'll be dropping a video going really more in detail about how to use the SEO and everything about SEO. So if that video is already dropped, I will have a card up here that you can go ahead and watch the video on if you are interested in that. Now look, SEO is not the only thing that you have to worry about. There's a lot more things that we have to focus on that you need to have in place. Otherwise, SEO will not work for you. So let's go ahead and hop right into the main key factors of a successful video. The next thing is click-through rate. Now this is one of the most important factors with a YouTube video. With click-through rate, what it means is pretty much if you have a video and you upload your video with your title and thumbnail, if someone doesn't click on that video, that can hurt your overall video. Now, it may sound like common sense, but generally speaking, that's what YouTube pays attention to. If your title and thumbnail sucks, most likely YouTube is not going to favor your content. You have to find a way to make your title and thumbnail super appealing and get them to click on it. Otherwise, they won't even know it's a good video. Now, one tip I will give you guys when it comes down to your thumbnail and title is to model after success. Now, don't blatantly copy success, but obviously you want to take someone else's successful video title and thumbnail, do the same thing, but add your own twist to it. Most likely, if they got success from it, you'll get success too if you add your own twist to it. One of the issues with some YouTube creators is they try to reinvent the wheel, which doesn't necessarily work. If you have 1 million subscribers, reinventing the wheel can work because now you have a fan base to create your own trend or to do your own thing. But when you have 0 subscribers, it's best to model after someone else because most likely you don't have the experience that they have. And so that's why I always say you want to look at what they're doing that they got success on, take it, make it your own. That's one massive tip I can give you guys when it comes down to creating really good thumbnails and titles and giving what YouTube wants, which is a good CTR, click-through rate. So how does click-through rate work? Well, let's say that over 100 different people saw your title and thumbnail, but only 10 of them clicked on it. That means you have a 10% click-through rate. Now, this is actually a good thing. 10% is a good range of click-through rate. I usually try to aim between 6 to 10% at least. If you can get somewhere in that range of percentage of click-through rate, that can usually help you out. However, there's way more to it, which is why I'm gonna go ahead and go into my computer so I can break down a little bit more about how click-through rate works so you can study your YouTube analytics. So on my computer, I'll be breaking down how you can go ahead and navigate to it. So the first thing is obviously you go to YouTube Studio Beta, and then you can go to videos, and then once you click on videos, you select the video you want to go ahead and look at. You go to analytics on that video, and then it'll pop up with a bunch of information about your YouTube video and all the analytics. Now, when you wanna look at click-through rate, the first thing you wanna do is you wanna go to reach. Once you go to reach, you wanna go ahead and click on impressions click-through rate. Now, this will bring up a bunch of stuff, but one thing I wanted to focus on was looking at the last 7 days. So to look at the last 7 days or timeline, you can go up to right here where it says the timeline since published, and I can say last 7 days. Now, this will go ahead and tell me what my CTR is. If I hover over the number, you guys can see it says 5% on November 4th, 5.9%, etc. And as I broke down with click-through rate, the way it works is 100 people see the thumbnail and title. Out of those 100 people, let's say 10 people click on it, then that means it's a 10% CTR. Now, if we go to impressions, this is what I mainly look at. I look at two things, but I'll break down this one first. The first thing is we can click on impressions. Now, you guys can see how much impressions you're getting on your YouTube video per day. Now, what I usually try to focus on is I try to make sure that the impressions is not going directly down, like it's falling apart, like it's going plummeting. I make sure it's not plummeting. I make sure it's going up and down. There's always going to be ups and downs, but I make sure it continues to go up and down. Nothing's too crazy. If that's the case, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. And that's why in this scenario, we have to go to last 28 days to fully see what is happening here. Last 28 days will show me that it's actually plummeting in impressions. So you guys can see now that I have a broader timeline, I can see what's happening to the YouTube video. The YouTube video was getting amazing impressions, but over time it started to dip down. Now this could be multiple factors. First factor could be that your YouTube video is just not as important as it used to be. If you're uploading a YouTube video that is completely based around a trend that's gonna disappear in the next month, most likely then your CTR and your impressions is gonna plummet. Another factor could be your audience retention is really bad. And if that's the case, I'll be breaking down how to study your audience retention later into the video. The reason why I don't think this is doing so well anymore is because this is what the video was about. It was about Marvel. And the reason why is because if you look on Google Trends as I'm filming this video, Marvel is kind of dying. And so like I said, it was mainly based around a trend. And because that trend is dying, my video started to die with it. Another thing that I pay attention to is when I scroll down, you guys can see impressions and how they led to watch time. And you guys can see this little funnel here. Now, what I usually try to look at is right here at the very top where it says 87% from YouTube recommending your content. Now, I really like to pay attention to this number. If you get above 80%, that's pretty good. Now, obviously, this is not exact. It's very broad. It can go all over the place. But from my experience, if I can get above 80% of YouTube recommending my content, that means it's really good and that it's very close to getting 1 million views, or it already is. Okay, the next factor that YouTube pays attention to is audience retention. Now, a lot of people obviously think to themselves, okay, I need to have a good YouTube video to get momentum, and that's totally true, but here's the thing, sometimes they don't know how to make a good video to make it entertaining in the first place. If you're a beginner, if you're a YouTuber that just is starting out, you don't know necessarily how to keep people engaged, and that's why in this video, I'll give you some quick tips that'll help you to keep the viewer engaged with your video, which makes YouTube want to favor your content way more. The first massive tip I have for you guys when it comes down to keeping the viewer engaged and getting a high audience retention is that I recommend switching up the scenery. So here's an example. Throughout this entire video, I've been going and switching my location and scenery because it keeps you engaged and it keeps your eyes focused on the video. If I stay in this position the entire time, you guys are gonna get quickly bored, which is why I just changed up the scenery because it just made your eyes refocus on what just happened on the screen. Do you get it? The way your brain and your eyes work is that the moment something completely changes on screen, it has to almost refocus to be like, wait, what's just happening? And that is the goal. The goal is to keep the viewer to really get their eyes and brain to have to keep thinking through the entire video, because otherwise they may fall into a deep sleep and click off. That is one of the reasons why I keep switching up the scenery. I keep switching everything up because I want to make sure you guys are engaged. Another tip is put things on the screen. For example, video clips or images, depending on what you're talking about. That is one tip that can really keep people engaged. The whole idea when it comes down to creating an entertaining piece of content is you want to make sure that the viewer cannot get comfortable. They can never get comfortable watching your video. The moment they get comfortable watching what's happening on the screen, then most likely, again, they're going to get bored bored and they're gonna click off. So you gotta keep switching it up, keep putting things on the screen or switching up what's happening on the video. And that will give you higher audience retention, which will rank your video way more in the YouTube algorithm. And now I wanna break down quickly how audience retention works, how you can actually study it in your analytics. So let's go ahead and get a little nerdy. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and break down your audience retention and how to go to it. What we wanna go ahead and do is scroll down to where it says right down here, audience retention. As you guys can see, my audience retention is 55.3%. Now, the ideal percentage of your audience retention should always be above 40%. Now, here's the thing. If you are a new YouTuber, if you're not really getting any views in the first place, you do not really have to pay attention to this number too much. Usually I tell my clients that they really need to pay attention to the audience retention number at about 500 views per video. Once you get 500 views on the YouTube video, that's when you really have to look at the data and be like, okay, is this a good video or not? Should I keep doing what I did here to keep getting results? But if you don't have that many views, then most likely there's not enough data to truly investigate. Now, one thing that I can look at, if I see more, if I can like look more in detail at this audience retention, you guys can actually see, you can kind of play through the video and see why people dropped off. There'll be little bumps, and sometimes you can look at to see why they clicked off in the first place. And if you know why they clicked off, then you know in the future videos not to do that thing, so then you can make sure people don't click off of it. But that's a general way of how you can study your audience retention. The next factor when it comes down to your video success is audience session time. So audience session time, how exactly does it work? So YouTube as a platform, they want to make sure that whenever someone watches your video, they don't click off and they don't leave the platform. They want to make sure when someone watches your video, they click on another YouTube video right after. So one thing is obviously you want to make sure your videos are good, so then it's binge worthy. Sometimes you'll see YouTubers do a part 1 or part 2 or make multiple series around a successful video idea. The reason why they do this is because YouTube loves the idea of that. Most likely if you get a viral video, let's say you get 10,000 views on a video and you normally only get 1,000 views, your job should go ahead and make another video similar to that same video that got 10,000 views, but make it a little bit better. YouTube will see this and they'll rank that video way more because now you're making a binge-worthy based video. And so as you start sending people off to more videos over time, YouTube starts favoring your content because again, you're keeping people engaged on their platform and they reward you because of that. So what is some tips on how you can make your content binge-worthy? The first tip is obviously what I just explained. If you get a successful video, go ahead and make another version of that video. The second tip is you can go ahead and try doing things like end screens or cards. For example, at the very end of this video, there will be an end screen, and at the very end of the video, I'll tell you guys to click on that video and watch it because there's way more strategies in that video. That sends people off to the video, which again creates binge-worthy session time. Another thing is obviously, like I said, cards. Like cards are things that pops up on the top right, and people can tap on that and they can go ahead and go to another YouTube video. Just in general, you're trying to create multiple ways that people can watch more content from you. So one of the major final tips I really want to break down for you guys is consistency, okay? Now, you probably hear this all the time, work hard, be consistent, that's how you're gonna get success. And look, yes, it's such a cliche, but I'm telling you guys, that is the truth. If you're not consistent, it's gonna hurt you because most likely, guys, you never know how close you are to getting that viral video. All it takes, guys, is one viral video to take off on your YouTube channel, and guess what? It's a snowball effect. And so right now you may be uploading a video and you see that that video isn't going anywhere and you worked so hard on that video. Don't get yourself down on that one video because here's the reality. All it takes is you to come out with another video, that video goes viral, and then guess what? All those fans that went to that viral video that they found you on will then trickle down into the video that you thought was dead, and guess what? That video that you thought was dead ends up exploding. And so when you upload a video and it doesn't go anywhere, don't get discouraged because the truth is, guys, at any given moment, that video can revive itself. So remember that, guys, stay consistent, and also watch my other YouTube video about how I break down even more strategies with YouTube if you want to go ahead and check that out. And remember to leave a like and subscribe on this channel where I teach you way more information about YouTube. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.